Let me now bring in economist and professor emeritus at the University of Maryland School of Business, Peter Morici. Peter, good morning to you. The European Union agreeing to more than $1.3 trillion in new investments in the United States in the coming years as part of this deal. The U.S. will tariff European goods at 15%, drop tariffs entirely on certain products. But how do you see this framework impacting the economy here at home?
Well, the tariffs, along with all the others, are slowing the economy down right now. Where we were looking at, say, 2% growth for this year, most forecasters in January, now we're going to come in a little bit better than 1%. Next year, we should be back on track. These tariffs all together, if you roll them all in together, and I think the Chinese tariffs are going to stay about where they are for a long time, we're looking at a tariff rate about 16% coming into the United States. That's a tax about $300 billion a year, but it's not devastating. It's not devastating, and so the economy should recover reasonably well in 2026, and we'll go forward from there. It's going to change somewhat what we make, but not as radically as the president is saying.
Yeah, and so far we've seen deals with the European Union, Japan, the Philippines, Indonesia, the UK, Vietnam, and then, the framework for a partial deal with China. It's a far cry from the 90 deals in 90 days that the president promised, right out of the gate. Can he tout this as a success at this point, do you think?
Well, is success measured in terms of his objectives? I don't think so. Some of the things that annoyed them the most about the Europeans get to keep. We're making a big deal about it, the steel and the aluminum tariffs, and those are a problem. But, the digital services tax that France and a few other nations there have, and they say, well, that's individual sovereign countries, we can't touch it. Those really are tariffs. They're new, and they were very provocative, and they were a great source of annoyance to people involved with trade. They got to keep those. So did Britain in their deal. Now, Canada's offered to drop its tax, and we'll see if that holds up, because we're not coming to a conclusion with Canada very readily.
As I mentioned with Tom, right before you joined me here, the White House is vowing to hold the line on keeping Friday's tariff deadline firmly in place. Do you think this most recent EU deal pushes other countries to come to the table? How consequential are they?
Well, we've got the big ones out of the way, actually, we have a couple of big ones out of the way, Japan and the EU. A lot really depends on this administration. Who are they willing to negotiate with? There are only 110 people working at the U.S. Trade Representative's office. They're the people that negotiate on our behalf. How can they possibly negotiate with the remaining 90 countries? Just sending out letters, he can do that, and he can impose it. But he can't reach a deal with all of them.
As you obviously know, the stock market has been in rally mode since initially plunging back in April when the tariffs were first announced. But this recent CBS News YouGov poll found that 61% of Americans believe the Trump administration is putting too much focus on tariffs. 70% say there's not enough focus on lowering prices. What do you make of those stats, given that President Trump does keep on pushing Jerome Powell to lower the interest rates over and over again?
Well, the reality is these tariffs are going to raise prices. These things tend to take a lag. They take time. For example, when he imposed significantly higher taxes on imported washing machines in January 2018, we didn't see a consequential impact until May, and the full impact until June. Economists never expected that we'd wake up in May and have higher prices, but we do expect that we'll have higher prices come September. We've started to see that filter through in the June price index report with higher prices for apparel and furniture and children's toys. And we'll likely see more of that in August and September.
And we'll see what more comes of today. Peter Morici, I got to end it there, but thank you as always for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.